The Yankees did something that good teams need to do to succeed on Thursday night, and that is overcome adversity. And that's exactly what they were able to do in the 6-3 victory over the Tampa Bay Rays from Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. And there are a number of storylines to discuss in this game, including Ben Rice being just the best hitter that has ever existed in the history of the universe. But we're also going to talk a little bit about the rough start from Will Warren, the unbelievable performance by the bullpen to get what I believe was the game, 22 outs is what the bullpen got in this game. I'm going to double check to make sure that's right, but they got 22 outs that the Yankees got from their bullpen. Numerous opportunities to kind of fall out of favor. You were down 3-1 at one point in this game, and then you really came back in the 5th and 6th to end up putting this game away. And we'll discuss how they did all of that in a second here. But, you win your 4th game in a row. You are now 5 games above 500. But my key takeaway here is overcoming adversity. Things are not always going to go well. We saw early in the season where sometimes things went, I don't want to say too well, but went unbelievably well for the New York Yankees, to the point where you were just kind of watching the game, sitting back and laughing in the late innings because it didn't matter. This was a game that you want to see from a team that has aspirations to not only make, but to make some noise in the postseason. This is a game where your starter went 1 2/3 innings, allowed 6 base runners in that time span, and comes out of the game in the 2nd inning. You're in the 2nd inning with the bases loaded. And it really put you in a situation where things could have really gone off the rails, and it could have happened really quickly. And it didn't. Ryan Yarbrough comes in, is able to get Brandon Lau to strike out. And, Yarbrough was pretty solid for a minute there. Had some struggles in the 3rd, where he allowed some hits, ends up allowing 2 runs in this game. And then the Yankees relied on the combination of Tim Hill, Ian Hamilton, and Devin Williams to get 4 2/3 innings out of the bullpen. They allowed a combined 2 base runners and no runs the rest of the way. Just absolutely just shut them down. And a 1-2-3 inning for Devin Williams to get his 4th save of the season. And this was a game where a lot of things happened. Jazz Chisholm gets thrown out on a bad strike 3 call and tweets about it from the clubhouse during the game. Your starter's out of the game in the 2nd. Your next reliever gets in a little bit of trouble in his 2nd inning of work. All of these things could have very easily led to the Yankees losing this game, and you're being like, you know what, this one just kind of got away. But it didn't. They came back. They fought strong. Down 3-1 going into the 5th inning. Oswaldo Cabrera really got things rolling in that with his home run, his 1st of the season, to right field. That one kind of got the Yankees moving a little bit. And then you have a Goldschmidt single, a Ben Rice double, Judge walks. Bellinger ends up, hitting into a fielder's choice to at least tie the game. And then eventually you get to that top of the 6th inning. Jazz walks, JC Escarra singles, Oswaldo Cabrera walks. You're able to get an opportunity there for Ben Rice later in that inning where he singles to left center field to score 2 runs. And it's just, they kept fighting back. And they kept having really good at-bats. And they basically, the Rays, and he's been good this year, but the Rays just kind of rode Taj Bradley to exhaustion. And you could see in that 6th inning, which he didn't get out of, that he just didn't quite have that stuff anymore. And the Rays didn't take him out. Results 5 in the third innings, 9 hits, 4 walks, 6 earned runs in the game, and 1 home run, obviously, to Oswaldo Cabrera. But, the Yankees had several different opportunities in this game for scary moments, including in the ninth inning, the first batter of the ninth inning. A tremendous play from Oswald Peraza at second base to get the first out of the inning. He's coming in to replace Jazz Chisholm, who got thrown out, as I mentioned earlier. And, again, the complexion of that inning changes completely if that's a single. Even though, again, it's a 3-run game, but you start to think about, Devin Williams' struggles, his issues in some of these games. You're like, oh, are we going to deal with this again? And you didn't. And it was a 1-2-3 painless, white-knuckleless, stressless ninth inning and 4th save of the year for Devin Williams. So we can't go any further in this game without talking about Ben Rice. 4 for 5, and his only non-hit was a 107-mile-an-hour ground out. So, I mean, you talk about a guy that's seeing the ball really well. 2 more RBIs from him. Goldschmidt led off in this game, went 2 for 5, scored twice as well. It's what Ben Rice is doing, and I feel like I talk about him on every show, kind of like a man crush situation, but what he's doing is really remarkable. And, there are guys that get hot, and there are guys that have peripheral numbers that are up there with the elites of the game of baseball. Ben Rice's peripherals are up there now with the elites of the game of baseball, and his production is there now, too. For the season, he's hitting .317. He's got an OPS, let me do the math here, we're getting some big numbers, of 1064. 1064 is his OPS right now. Basically playing pretty much every day. It's just been absolutely tremendous. And, man, I don't know where the Yankees would be without him. And I thought it was going to be really interesting in this game, with Ben Rice and Aaron Judge hitting back-to-back here as well in the second and third spot in the order to kind of see how they kind of pitch to both of these guys. And, you saw at times in this game where they were forced to pitch to Ben Rice with a righty because they didn't want to bring in a lefty to face Aaron Judge. And Ben Rice made them pay. And so that's just been a tremendous asset at the top of the lineup for them. And I just really, really, I don't know, it's really exciting. Like, I mean, I like at some point, like, I don't think he's going to finish the season with an OPS over 1,000. Like, I'm just going to say that. I don't think that's going to happen. The only guy on the roster that's probably going to do that is Aaron Judge. But I also don't think this is a fluke. I also don't think we're going to... Look, he's going to slump at some point. Every hitter does. It's part of the game. But I don't think this is a fluke. I don't think he's due for massive, massive regression. And all I know is and he was asked about it after the game on Thursday night about, hey, have you had any discussions with Aaron Boone or your teammates or anybody about, what's going to happen when Giancarlo Stanton comes back? And, Ben Rice flat out said, no, I haven't. It's not something I'm thinking about. The team is better when Giancarlo Stanton is healthy and playing, and that's all I'm worried about. And so, which is the right answer. And look, it's a problem the Yankees will gladly face head on when they need to. I think you're never going to be upset because you have too many good hitters in the lineup. Between Stanton at DH, Goldschmidt at first. In this scenario, you're talking about Stanton, Rice, and Goldschmidt all being healthy and all playing at the high level all at the exact same time. We'll deal with that problem. That's a good problem to have. And that's something the Yankees and Aaron Boone will face when they need to face it, but they don't need to face it right now. And right now, Ben Rice can continue to be one of the hottest hitters, if not the hottest hitter in baseball, aside from, obviously, Aaron Judge, of course, who's, he had a ho-hum game, just, an RBI single in this game. But, I think he'll be okay. I think Judge will be okay. Yeah, that RBI single, 1 for 4, took him all the way down to a 400 batting average and a 1283 OPS. I think he's going to be okay. And so let's talk about, let's talk about Will Warren. Obviously did not follow up his strong start with this great start here on Thursday night. But I'm still bullish on what he can be. He doesn't look like, and I keep saying I feel like he's a year away because quite frankly, I feel like he's a year away. He has really good stuff. You look at the movement he has on his pitches, and particularly on his breaking pitches and his breaking balls away from right-handed hitters. There's some filthy stuff there. He doesn't feel like he has a full command of it quite yet. He doesn't always feel like he is in a rhythm with that pitch. But from a stuff standpoint, he's got some nasty stuff that he's working with. And he's got some pitches that you look at him and go, with a little bit more time, seasoning, experience, a feeling out process against major league hitters, etc., he might have something here. Obviously, the Yankees are going to rely on him fairly heavily, particularly early in the season, because of the injuries in the rotation and because, quite frankly, some poor play from other people. But, just as you get Clark Schmidt back, obviously, you send Stroman to the IL. Heel is still on the IL, as we talked about his starting program being pushed back 10 days. But I'm still bullish on the long-term future for Will Warren. I think you're going to have to ride the rookie wave with him a little bit this year. Like, there's going to be some high highs and some low lows, and they're going to come not just start to start, but inning to inning. And we've already experienced that a little bit so far this year in the early part of the season. I think you're going to continue to experience that. So, again, he's getting valuable reps right now. The Yankees are able to win this game. It was taxing on the bullpen, which is obviously not ideal given, they don't have another off day. They don't have an off day till Thursday. That's their next off day. So they're going to be playing 6 more games in the middle of the streak that they're in. 3 against Tampa, and then, coming back from there, they immediately go on the road, or I should say stay on the road, to go and face the Guardians in Cleveland over, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday game, including a day game after night game for the series finale. So, quite frankly, they have a day game after night game for both series finales they have. But, at least on the Sunday one against the Rays, it's, obviously more typical to play, on a Sunday afternoon than it is necessarily like a Wednesday afternoon like they will in Cleveland before coming home for a very quick 3-game homestand against the Blue Jays. And then they've got, they're going to be in the middle of this little run against the division that they're going to have here to end the month and to start May. You have home against the Blue Jays, 3 in Baltimore, a day off, and then 3 back at home against the Rays. So, need a little, obviously you don't want to tax your bullpen, especially considering the option situations that the Yankees have where they really don't have a lot of guys they can just keep moving up and down, up and down. Maybe who knows, maybe we'll get another 2 days out of Adam Ottavino here at some point. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that bullpen the rest of the way, because you got 6 more games to get everybody through. And I would imagine for tomorrow's game that Yarborough and Tim Hill are probably both down. I would assume Ian Hamilton's also unlikely to pitch. So that's a good chunk of your bullpen. And that's 2 of your lefties. So that's going to be interesting, because I don't know what the Yankees want to do with that in this second game. I know obviously you don't have to always go, lefty on lefty matchup, and you have Carlos Rodon on the mound for this next game, so you're going to have a lot of lefty on lefty anyway. So the Rays are going to have a lineup, built to tackle left-handed pitching. But yeah, I mean, that is their 2 lefties out of the pen, so they really are not going to be able to do any really lefty-lefty matchups in game 2 of this series. You still have, you have Weaver, Leiter, untouched in this game. Cruz was untouched in this game. Devin Williams pitched an inning, but it was a very quick inning, so I would imagine he would be, available if needed. He only threw 6 pitches. So, Tim Hill, we'll see, I guess. Looking at this, he threw 23 pitches. Ian Hamilton threw 20. I guess I would assume they probably don't need Hamilton as much. They've got plenty of righties. Gomez, Cruz, Weaver, Williams, out of the pen. I don't think they necessarily need to throw Ian Hamilton back-to-back here. Yarbrough threw 56 pitches in this game. They used him extensively, and he's used to that. He played that opener or following an opener type of role in Tampa for a while. So, that's not ridiculous for him like it would be for the other guys in the bullpen. But 23 pitches for Tim Hill. It's probably borderline. I think they would like to avoid using him, but he might not be a complete no-go like Ryan Yarbrough will be. But we will see how things go for the Yankees in Game 2 of this series. The first pitch is scheduled for 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Carlos Rodon will go up against Drew Rasmussen, who has pitched pretty well to start the year. He's gone exactly 5 innings in all 3 of his starts, but he's only allowed 1 earned run. And this will be his 3rd start at home so far this season. So we will take a look and see how this game goes. Will the Yankees get a bounce-back effort from Carlos Rodon? I'm not going to sit here and say I'm confident, but we will see. They need something from him. Like I said, we saw a little bit of flashes against San Francisco, but it wasn't able to pull it off in the end. Maybe he can be a little bit more consistent here, and especially because they're not going to have a lot of lefties a lot of left-handed outs they're going to be able to get from the bullpen. So he might get a little bit of an extra batter or 2 depending on the matchups in this game. We'll see if he can come through. But it'll be a big, big victory if they can. And it would be obviously their 5th in a row if they can pull it off. We'll be back here to break it all down.